Hi, this is Ron Darling.
This is Skip Lockwood.
Hi, I'm Ron Swoboda of the 69 New York Mets, and you're listening to MetsMusings with Gary Mack.
Now it's time for some New York Mets baseball talk. Here's Gary Mack bringing you the latest news and analysis from Mets Nation and the world of baseball on another edition of MetsMusings.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of MetsMusings. I hope you all had a great week out there. Hope you had a better week than our Metsies did. Struggled a little bit. 3-4 on the road trip and coming home for a short 3-game series, but let's get into that and recap the series. The Mets split a weekend series with the Nationals, winning 2, losing 2, highlighted by Brandon Nimmo's record-tying 9 RBI in a blowout win. Nimmo matched the franchise record and became the first MLB player since 2024 to score at least 9 RBI. The Mets came home then to play Arizona, and in the opener, the Mets showcased strong defense and strong offense, homering 3 times. Pitchers David Peterson and Jose Butto impressed with effective run-supported appearances, leading to a series-opening victory against the Diamondbacks. Pete Alonso made a number of diving stops at first, but the 4th inning saw the Mets make 3 great plays to end that frame. The first saw Mark Vientos at a grounder into the glove of Francisco Lindor for a 5-6-3 ground out. Tyrone Taylor made a sensational diving catch near the warning track in center field. And then Lindor snatched a hopper with the backhand for a 6-3 output, making it look easy in the process. The Mets saw their home winning streak end at 8 games the next night as they frustratingly fell to the Arizona Diamondbacks 4-3 on Wednesday. Brandon Waddell was recalled from AAA Syracuse to pitch specifically in bulk relief, and his first taste of the majors since 2021. Well, it was nice. It was sweet. The 30-year-old righty logged 4.1 shutout innings with 4 strikeouts and retired the last 8 batters he faced. Waddell's debut with the Mets ended with a standing ovation from the crowd, but the cheering in the 7th inning didn't last. Ryan Stanek came in. He allowed Arizona's bottom 3 hitters to produce a 2-out, 3-single rally for a pair of runs. Stanek has now relinquished the lead in each of his last 3 appearances. The Mets left a whopping 13 runners on base, went 0 for 10 with runners in scoring position, and in spite of these ugly numbers, the offense nearly pulled off an unexpected win. In the rubber game, Juan Soto hit a pair of solo home runs, his first 2 at Citi Field as a New York Met, but it wasn't enough as the D-backs beat the Mets 4-2 Thursday afternoon at Citi Field. It was only the second time the Mets have lost 2 in a row this year. Down 3-2 in the 8th, the Mets had a chance to tie the game with runners at second and third and 1 out, but back-to-back strikeouts to Mark Vientos and Brandon Nimmo ended the threat. As I said earlier, the Mets are 3-4 over the last 7 games, and they've been struggling a little bit, and the bullpen has struggled. As good as the bullpen has been earlier in the season, they're running into a little bit of a problem now, struggling a little bit, and to be honest with you, the injuries have not helped them, and we'll get a little bit more into that a little bit later. But they've suffered some injuries, and they've got the Syracuse to Queens shuttle going again as they move things up and down and bring guys in and out to try to balance the starting pitching as well as the bullpen at this point. Now, last week we said we weren't sure who may go down when McNeil and Alvarez came back. We knew it was going to be Singer, the catcher. We weren't sure if it was going to be Acuna or Beatty. It ended up being Beatty going down. And I'm a big Brett Beatty fan, but I have to tell you, Luis Angel Acuna has earned this spot. He has been nothing but sensational when he's played. He's played a terrific defense. He hit in 5 or 6 games in a row. His average is now up to 300. So he has been a spark plug for this team and has played awesome. And frankly, he deserves to be here. He really won the job. And with injuries, with Siri being out, he's going to have a big part to play. And Mendoza's been using him rather well. He's been trying to keep him playing. Moving McNeil to left field. Nimmo was sick for a couple of days, so we had Azokar for one game. You had McNeil out and left, Acuna at second. That's the kind of way they're going to work it and try to get playing time in, because really Acuna deserves to play. Like I said, I liked Brett Beatty, but Acuna won the job fair and square, and he has been sensational for this ball club. So Acuna is here. We talked about the bullpen slightly, and they have struggled. And it's a shame because they pitched so well, but there's been some injuries mounting up now, and we got to hope they can hang in there and see how that's going to work out. So the Mets head to St. Louis for 3, and then they go to Arizona for 3 before returning home. And let's see, the probable pitches in St. Louis this weekend will be Clay Holmes versus Sonny Gray, Tyler McGill versus Eric Fetty, and Griffin Canning against Andre Palante. And now let's take a look at the injury update. Right-handed pitcher Paul Blackburn, he's got a right knee inflammation. He is throwing bullpens at Citi Field. He's been delayed in continuing his rehab assignment due to a stomach bug or some sort of illness that's bothered him. But he is throwing bullpens at Citi Field, so he will be starting a rehab assignment very soon. Now, A.J. Minter is another story completely. He left with a lat strain, and he threw 9 pitches that day. He was diagnosed with a left lat strain, placed on the 15-day IL. Mets manager Carlos Mendoza said on Tuesday afternoon that reliever A.J. Minter is dealing with a pretty significant injury, and season-ending surgery is a possibility. They are investigating all options at this point, trying to avoid that season-ending injury or operation, but it's no reports further on what the decision has been as of right now. And 3 days after placing A.J. Minter on the IL, Danny Young has gone down with a left elbow sprain. The move is retroactive to April 27th, meaning Young will be eligible to return as soon as May 12th, but it's not clear at this point how severe his injury is. So what does that mean? It means that Danny Young could be looking at the dreaded Tommy John surgery. That's what it's looking like at this particular point in time. And of course, that's a season ender. So the Mets are effectively without any lefties that they started the season with. Right-hander Ty Adcock and left-hander Genesis Cabrera have been selected to the Major League roster. And righty Chris Davinsky and lefty Brandon Waddell were optioned to AAA Syracuse. They both pitched yesterday, and so they brought in fresh arms for today's game in Adcock and Cabrera. No word on whether they'll be sent back down and two other guys come up. I could see the Mets eventually having Cabrera and Waddell in the bullpen, but that's a decision has not been made yet, so we'll have to see what that brings about. In other news, the Mets left-hander Brooks Raley, whose 2024 season ended because of Tommy John surgery, was re-signed by the Mets to a one-year contract with a club option for 2026. He was placed on the 15-day injured list as he recovers. Raley, 37 in June, is evidently making progress in his rehab, as it was reported last week that he threw for interested clubs. His doctors believe he can start rehab assignment in June. However, if Minter is lost for the season, will Raley's program be accelerated? Don't make that mistake. Don't rush him back. Let him come back in due time. And if we can hang on in May and June, then that will be the best thing. And then hopefully he can come back in July and be at the top of his game. We want these guys to be at the top of their game. Okay, and SNY, the broadcast home of the Mets, is exploring potential deals, including an outright sale. According to Lauren Thomas of the Wall Street Journal, Mets owner Steve Cohen could emerge as a buyer. The Wall Street Journal reported that the network, which is still controlled by the Mets' former owners, the Wilpon and Katz families, has hired bankers at Moelis to conduct a process to find new financial backers. The process is expected to generate interest from other regional sports networks and private equity firms, according to the newspaper. Cohen, the WSJ reported, would also likely be interested. SNY has an exclusive long-term rights partnership with the Mets that lasts through 2025. Sources told the Wall Street Journal. The deal would be intended to help position SNY for the future and capitalize on a promising first-place Mets season. Many consumers have been cutting cable in favor of streaming services in recent years. So SNY could be sold and Steve Cohen could be there to pick it up. But we'll see what happens there. All right, let's take a quick break, and we will come back right after this.
Baseball and BBQ, your place for interesting baseball talk, opinions, and history.
Baseball and BBQ, your place for barbecue recipes, tips, and interviews from the world of barbecue. If you like baseball and if you like barbecue, then tune in to Baseball and BBQ. Find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and BaseballTalkRadio.com.
And we're back, and now it's time to go down on the farm. our first bit of information on Down on the Farm is that Ronnie Mauricio made his long-awaited debut on Sunday and recorded a hit as a 24-year-old looks to make his way back to the big league roster. So Ronnie Mauricio starting that long road back, his rehab and return. Blade Tidwell pitched 3 strong innings, including 9 strikeouts in his last outing. He did that before he got smacked around in the 4th inning, surrendering 4 runs in that outing. Marco Vargas and A.G. Ewing both earned promotions to Brooklyn after tearing it up in Port St. Lucie with the St. Lucie Mets. So the Cyclones getting stronger. Right-handed pitcher Jonah Tong in his last outing pitched 4 innings, had 1 hit, gave up 1 walk, 10 strikeouts, and he's got a 3.63 ERA on the year so far. And last year's first-round pick, Carson Bange, is absolutely locked in right now. The left-handed hitting outfielder has been raking for the Brooklyn Cyclones, picking up a career-high 4 hits during Tuesday's victory at Maimonides Park to give him his 3rd consecutive multi-hit showing. He also picked up his first home runs with the organization last week, going the other way for a grand slam against the Jersey Shore Blue Claws. The 22-year-old certainly looked the part of a top prospect this far, hitting .292 with 5 doubles, a homer, 8 RBI, and a .403 OPB through 17 games. And that's through 17 games. He's had a couple of games since then. Continues to hit. Even had a run, drove in a run this evening in the Cyclones in the first inning with a double. So Carson Bange may be the real deal. And you know, he could move fast through the system and could be here before you even know it. Jacob Reimer became the first player in Cyclone history to have a 3-homer game since his club became a full-season High A affiliate in 2021. It's only the 3rd time in franchise history that the feat has been accomplished, and first since July 29, 2005, when Caleb Stewart did it against Hudson Valley. Noel Deverez notched the first trifecta at Maimonides Park by a Cyclones player in 2001 against the New Jersey Cardinals. So congratulations to Jacob Reimer, and he's having a pretty damn good season as. So let's take a look at the standings. Syracuse is at 13-16. They are in 7th place in their division, 8.5 games back. Binghamton is at 13-9. They are in 3rd place in their division going into tonight's games, 1 game back. Brooklyn is at 15-7, 2nd in their division, a half a game out. And St. Lucie is also in 2nd position. They are 13-10 on the season, and they are 1 game back. The Syracuse Mets are on the road this week, playing a 6-game series against the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs. The Binghamton Rumble Ponies are also on the road, facing the Erie Seawolves. And the Brooklyn Cyclones are hosting the Wilmington Blue Rocks at Maimonides Park in Brooklyn. And the St. Lucie Mets are playing at home against the Jupiter Hammerheads at Clover Park in Port St. Lucie. So that is the Mets minor league roundup for you as we go down on the farm. And now we're going to sign off for this week. That'll wrap it up for this week's show. I hope you enjoyed it and hope you come back next week for all the information. And this was a jam-packed show. Lots of info to get out to you. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, please hit the like and or subscribe button. and leave a comment, whether it be on YouTube or on Rumble, wherever you view this podcast. And we are on all of the audio podcast apps as well. So no excuse to miss the show. And check out our website, MetsMusings.com. That's the one place you can get all the information you need. So go check that out. And so until the next time, remember to keep the faith, stay optimistic, and let's go Mets. And I'm Gary Mack, and I'll see you next time on another edition of Mets Musings.